Hello and welcome to Quiz Time. I'm Jess and today I have 100 general knowledge questions for you. So, how do you think you're going to do today? Got your thinking cap on? Let's go. What major event marked the beginning of the 1940s? World War II started, World War II ended, or World War I started? World War II started. Name the group of American writers who gained prominence in the 1950s. The Brat Generation, the Beat Generation, or the Bolt Generation? The Beat Generation. What significant naval engagement took place on December the 7th, 1941? Pearl Harbor. What was the code name for the British cytographers' efforts to decrypt German messages during World War II? Ultra, Altar, or Zealot? Ultra. What was the code name for the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941? Operation Barbarossa. Which country was not occupied by Axis forces during World War II? Switzerland, Italy, or France? That's Switzerland. Which battle was the first major naval engagement to be fought entirely with aircraft carriers? Battle of the Coral Sea. Who was the Japanese commander of the attack on Pearl Harbor? Minichi Koga or Isoroku Yamato? Isoroku Yamato. Who was the President of the United States during most of World War II? Harry Truman, Woodrow Wilson, or Franklin Roosevelt? Franklin Roosevelt. Which Nazi leader was responsible for the planning and implementation of the Holocaust? Heinrich Himmler. What was the name of the failed German operation to invade and conquer the United Kingdom during World War II? Operation Sea Lion. Which battle is considered the turning point of World War II in the Pacific? Battle of Midway, Battle of Stalingrad, or Battle of Bloberg? Battle of Midway. Name the top secret project to develop the atomic bomb during World War II. The Manhattan Project. Who served as the PM during World War II, succeeding Neville Chamberlain? King George VI, Winston Churchill, or Clement Attlee? Winston Churchill. True or false? Enola Gay was the name of the American aircraft that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. It's true. Which country declared war on Japan following the attack on Pearl Harbor? It was the United States. Who was the Japanese Prime Minister during most of World War II? It's one of these three. Hideki Tojo. What was the name of the German battleship sunk by the British Royal Navy? It was the Bismarck. In which Japanese city was the second atomic bomb dropped on August 9th, 1945? Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or Takayama? Nagasaki. What was the name of the Soviet offensive launched in December 1941? Operation Fritz. Who was the Emperor of Japan during World War II? There's some more again. My Japanese, please don't make me try and pronounce it. It was Hirohito, Emperor Hirohito. Who from the UK was a key figure in breaking the German Enigma code? Gordon Welchman, Alan Turing, or Bill Tutt? Alan Turing. Which American singer-songwriter was widely regarded as one of the pioneers of rock and roll and had hits such as Blue Suede Shoes in the 1950s? It was Elvis Presley. Name the conflict between Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek. It was the Chinese Civil War. Who was the first Secretary General of the United Nations, serving from 1946 to 1952? Dag Hammarskjöld, Trygve Lie, or Kurt Waldheim? Trygve Lie. What was the name of the US Senator known for his anti-communist witch hunts in the 1950s? Senator Joseph R. McCarthy. Which British monarch was crowned in 1953? Our dear Queen Elizabeth II recently passed. Name the US Supreme Court case in 1954 that declared state laws establishing separate public schools for black and white students to be unconstitutional. It was Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka. Who became the first person to break the sound barrier in level flight in 1947? Jacqueline Cochran, Charles Yeager, or Amelia Earhart? It was Charles Yeager, excuse me. What was the name of the agreement signed in 1953 that ended the Korean War? Korean Armistice Agreement, Korean Pact Agreement, or the Korea Trade Agreement? Korean Armistice Agreement. Who was the leader of the Soviet Union during most of the 1950s? Nikita Khrushchev. What was the name of the US program aimed at providing economic aid to Western European countries after World War II? The Marshall Plan. Who was the British Prime Minister during most of the 1950s? Winston Churchill. Which American author wrote the novel The Catcher in the Rye? Harper Lee, Ernest Hemingway, or Jerome Salinger? Jerome Salinger. What was the name of the first artificial satellite launched into space by the Soviet Union in 1957? Sputnik 1. Who was the leader of the Soviet Union when it tested its first atomic bomb? Malenkov, Stalin, or Khrushchev? It was Stalin. Which American senator was known as the Lion of the Senate? Kennedy, Eisenhower, or Johnson? It's Kennedy. Which countries were part of the Axis powers during World War II? Italy, France and China, Germany, Italy and Japan, or Germany, Italy and France? Germany, Italy and Japan. Who was the first woman to serve in the United States Cabinet, holding the position of Secretary of Labor under President Harry S. Truman? Frances Perkins. Name the American author who won the Nobel Prize for The Old Man and the Sea. Ernest Hemingway. Which American president signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 into law? Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, or Lyndon Johnson? Lyndon Johnson. Name the American astronaut who became the first person to walk on the moon. Neil Armstrong. Who was the leader of the Soviet Union during most of the 1960s? Joseph Stalin, Leonid Khrushchev, or Nikita Khrushchev? Nikita Khrushchev. What American activist group was founded to promote the rights of African Americans? NAACP, BPP, or BEEE? It was BPP, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Which American boxer became the world heavyweight champion in 1964 after defeating Sonny Liston? Muhammad Ali. What was the name of the Soviet space probe that became the first man-made object to reach the surface of the moon in 1966? Luna 9. Who was the British Prime Minister during most of the 1960s? John Major, Edward Heath, or James Callaghan? Edward Heath. What space program aimed to land astronauts on the Moon and bring them back to Earth? Vostok program, Apollo program, or Artemis program? Apollo program. Who was the first woman to fly in space, launched aboard Vostok 6 in 1963? Amelia Earhart, Valentina Tereshkova, or Elise de Roche? Valentina Tereshkova. What was the name of the American physician and civil rights leader who co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC, in 1957? Martin Luther King Jr. Who was the first African American to serve on the United States Supreme Court? Thurgood Marshall, Clarence Thomas, or Ketanji Brown Jackson? Thurgood Marshall. What political scandal led to the resignation of US President Richard Nixon in 1974? The Watergate scandal. Who was the American activist who co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union? Cesar Chavez, Richard Chavez, or Dolores Huerta? Dolores Huerta. Which American rock band became synonymous with the counterculture movement? Fish, Jefferson Airplane, or Grateful Dead? Jefferson Airplane. Which American actress and sex symbol starred in the film Some Like It Hot in 1959 and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1953? Marilyn Monroe. What program provided health services to low-income individuals and families? Economic Empowerment Act, Economic Opportunity Act, or Economic Justice Act? Economic Opportunity Act. Which author is known for the novel Naked Lunch? William Burroughs, Thomas Pynchon, or Italo Calvino? William Burroughs. What was the name of the Soviet premier who succeeded Nikita Khrushchev in 1964? Alexei Kosygin. Who founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and advocated for non-violent resistance to racial injustice? Martin Luther King Jr. Name the American military operation that invaded Cambodia. Operation Torch, Operation Menu, or Operation Mockingbird? Operation Menu. Which journalist won the Pulitzer Prize for his reporting on the My Lai massacre? Andrew Snyder, Seymour Hersh, or David Segal? Seymour Hersh. Name the environmental organization founded in 1970 to promote conservation and address environmental issues. Environmental Protection Agency. What was the name of the landmark US legislation signed into law in 2010 that aimed to reform the American healthcare system? Obamask. Who was the American serial killer who confessed to murdering over 30 young women in the 1970s? Theodore Robert Bundy. What event occurred on September 11th, 2001 that had an impact on global politics and security? The terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. True or false? Leonid Brezhnev led the Soviet Union during most of the 1970s. It's true. Name the US Supreme Court case in 1973 that legalized abortion nationwide. Rose Wade, Ross Wade, or Roe Wade? Roe Wade. Who was the American rock and roll musician that died in 1977? Bob Dylan, Elvis Presley, or Frank Zappa? Elvis Presley. What was the name of the American feminist organization founded in 1966 to address issues such as reproduction rights and gender equality? National Organization for Women. Who was the American president that signed the Paris Peace Accords? Richard Nixon, Andrew Jackson, or Martin Van Buren? Richard Nixon. Name the US law that established rules for obtaining surveillance warrants. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA. Who is the American singer-songwriter known for hits such as Imagine and Give Peace a Chance, who was assassinated in 1980? John Lennon. Name the American whistleblower who leaked classified information about the Vietnam War to the press in 1971. Daniel Ellsberg. Who orchestrated the mass murder-suicide of over 900 of his followers in Jonestown? Jim Jones, Tim Jones, or Jack Jones? Jim Jones. Name the space station launched in 1973 that orbited the Earth for 6 years. Skylab, ISS, or Gemini? Skylab. Who gained fame for his reporting on the Watergate scandal and later became an iconic news anchor for CBS Evening News? Walter Leland Cronkite Jr. Name the spacecraft that successfully landed on Saturn's moon Titan in 2005. Huygens probe. Who won an Academy Award for her role in Clute? Holland Taylor, Jane Fonda, or Jodie Foster? Jane Fonda. Name the American feminist magazine founded in 1972 by Gloria Steinem. Ms. Magazine. Who was the first African American mayor of a major US city? Maynard Jackson Jr., William Hartsfield, or Bill Campbell? Maynard Jackson Jr. What was the name of the American military operation in 1989 that saw the invasion of Panama to overthrow dictator Manuel Noriega? Operation Just Cause. What scientific breakthrough announced in 2003 marked a significant milestone in understanding the human genome? The completion of the Human Genome Project. Which Soviet leader initiated reforms per perestroika and glasnost in the 1980s? Vasily Kuznetsov, Mikhail Gorbachev, or Andrei Gromyko? Mikhail Gorbachev. Who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009 for his efforts to strengthen international diplomacy? Barack Obama. Name the serial killer who murdered at least 30 young men in the 1970s and 80s. Jeffrey Dahmer, John Gacy, or Coral Watts? John Gacy. Which president signed the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty? Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, or Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan. True or false? Brain virus was the name of a computer virus that infected IBM computers. It's true. Who was the American business magnate and founder of Microsoft Corporation? Bill Gates. Name the space shuttle that exploded 73 seconds after liftoff in 1986, resulting in the deaths of all 7 crew members. Do you remember where you were when you saw that? Orbiter Challenger. Shocking. Which political figure served as the president of Zimbabwe from 1987 until his resignation in 2017? Robert Mugabe. Name the European spacecraft that made a successful landing on a comet in 2014. Philae, Philae, or Philae? Philae. Which country became the first to legalize same-sex marriage nationwide in 2001? China, Netherlands, or South Africa? The Netherlands. In what year was the Copenhagen Accord adopted? 2009, 2012 or 2016? 2009. Which American actress starred in the films Pretty Woman and Steel Magnolias? Anne Hathaway, Julia Roberts or Diane Lane? Julia Roberts. What was the name of the Polish Labour Union formed in 1980? Solidarity. What was the name of the American military operation in 1991 that liberated Kuwait from Iraqi occupation during the Gulf War? Operation Desert Storm. Which Bosnian Serb leader was indicted for war crimes during the Bosnian War? Ratko Mladic, Aleksa Buha or Radovan Karadzic? Radovan. What was the name of the military operation launched by NATO in 2001 in response to the September 11th terrorist attacks? Operation Enduring Freedom. Name the athlete that won 9 gold medals at the 1992 and 1996 Olympic Games. Frederick Lewis. In 2008, which investment bank filed for bankruptcy, marking one of the largest financial collapses in history? It's your last question. Are you going to get this one? It was Lehman Brothers. So, how is your general knowledge today? Please drop your score in the comments below and like and subscribe so you get notified every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time on Quiz Time.